What's going on, everyone? This is Julian Smartrimple, King Jewelz here. We are locked and loaded for another very special episode. Welcome to the Run the Jewelz podcast show and vidcast series. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. We appreciate you tuning in and rocking with us for today's very special episode. But just to tell you all a little bit about the RTJ show for those who are just joining us for the first time. The RTJ Lifestyle Show was created to spread inspiration to young professionals and millennial entrepreneurs who want to learn wisdom on how to shine brighter in their careers or their businesses. And so, millennial, shout out to all of our millennial audience members. If you are a Gen Zer, we appreciate the Gen Zers that are tuning in. But even if you're a baby boomer, we still got love for all of our baby boomers out there that are rocking with us. We appreciate y'all shining with us this morning for the RTJ podcast. Interested in being a part of the RTJ show, if you have a phenomenal testimony, or if you're a business owner or a young professional that is trailblazing it in your career or your business, we want to see if you have a good fit for our show. And so you can click the link that we're putting in the comment section below in order to fill out one of our interest forms. And then one of our team members will reach back out to you if you are a good fit for our podcast. So shout out to all of our VIP jewels that have been a part of this season. We could not have made the show successful. You can listen to us on any podcast streaming platform. All you have to do is just go to any place you listen to your favorite podcast or music streaming artist and just search for the Run the Jewelz podcast. You'll see the cover art with my face on it, and that lets you know you're in the right place. And you can track with us to see all of our progress that we've made, you all, from season 1 all the way now to our current season that we are in right now today. And so shout out to all of our Smart Jewel listeners who have been rocking with us from the beginning. You can also catch us on Wisdom. If you are listening on Wisdom or Twitter, to get exclusive behind the scenes live Q&A access with our very special guests. This is a live Q&A show. And so to ask any questions that you have for my very special guest that we're going to get ready to introduce you to. But we want to hear from you. If you're also tuning in with us via StreamYard, feel free to drop any questions you have for our very special guests in the private chat. We can either put them on the screen for our guests to answer, or if you want to come onto the screen to dialogue with myself and my guest, feel free to come onto the screen also. But without further ado, those are all of my housekeeping for today. Again, feel free to ask any questions you may have. No question is too outrageous or outlandish. We're all just here to dialogue and to learn from one another. And so I met through another brother who I met at a podcast festival last year. Shout out to the Black Pod Fest that was here in Atlanta, Georgia, which was put on by the Black Pod Collective. I believe it's the #1 Black organization for content creators, podcasters, and especially those who are business owners and entrepreneurs based here in the ATL. And I met this young brother named James Edwards, who was a mutual friend of one of my friends that went to Hampton University. Shout out to Stafford. And literally from there, we stayed in contact from a conference. You never know who you may meet at a conference just by going. I was speaking as a guest workshop presenter at the conference and decided to stay connected with James. And I didn't even know that James is well connected with other entrepreneurs and content creators. And so, again, make sure you are networking when you go out to conferences, festivals, or any type of workshops or summits, because you never know who you will meet and also how you all can help and elevate one another's business, your brand, or even just career-wise. And so I met this young lady when I was on James's Keep It Uplifting podcast, I believe earlier this spring. was the first time that I met her, and he was already speaking about her before I even got the chance to meet her in person when they came down to Atlanta to film our podcast episode in a studio in Buckhead. And literally, she's a dynamic queen that is doing major work in the real estate and the consulting and business industry. She definitely is going to be talking to us about a very popular subject that we all should want to learn about, even myself taking notes. But today's title for the episode is How to Take Your Business from Concept to Implementation with a Strategist. And so if you're someone that is in the concept stage and you need to elevate to the implementation, the action stage, you need to hear from this VIP Jewel, who is going to be sharing with us the strategies to take your ideas from concept to reality and to action and to implementation. And so she goes by the name of Big Mama, is her handle out there on the social media streets. But I know her as Brandi Pratt, and so I'm going to get ready to introduce you all to Brandi Pratt, so she can talk to you. And so, without further ado, Brandi, how are you feeling this morning?
Hello, I'm doing well.
We appreciate you coming on. We appreciate you coming on to rock with us this morning, Queen. What we usually have our guests do, Brandi, to start off the interview. Tell us, Brandi, where you're originally from, your hometown that you grew up in, where you're currently streaming our episode today, and then also why is this an important subject, Brandi, to discuss with our audience today?
Sure. So I grew up in Woodbridge, Virginia, and I am shooting this podcast in Woodbridge, Virginia. And let's see, why is this so important? With proper planning, you can accomplish any goal that you set out to do. You just need to plan for it in advance in the most strategic way possible.
I love it. I love it. Keeping it short and sweet. Shout out to Virginia, too. I know we have quite a few guests and also even listeners that I'm sure are tuning in from Virginia. And I can't remember, Brandi, if I told you when I met you, I went to Hampton. So always give big up to the HU, the real HU, and the Virginia 757. But definitely we are rocking and rolling with Brandi, with special VIP guests talking about how to take your business from concept to implementation with the strategy. And so, wisdom listeners, Twitter listeners, or even if you're here on StreamYard, if you have any questions for me, feel free to either list them in the chat, or if you're on Wisdom or Twitter, you can come on to the stage to conversate with Brandi. And so, Brandi, let's start from the beginning, Queen. Let's talk about like your beginnings. Did you come from a family that was surrounded by entrepreneurs or that you had business owners to look up to? How did you learn about business, and even how did you get taught certain business strategies in order to start your own business and your own brand?
Sure. So growing up, I would say no. I think for the most part, my family is middle class family. We all grew up with the same Black family experience in America. I didn't really pick up my business sense or my business skills until I got out into the real world for myself. So after graduating high school, I didn't go to college. I went straight into sales. And that is really when I started to realize that you can really influence people by knowing what their requirements are and pitching them and selling them whatever, right? So at that point, it was like, okay, well, I've learned how to speak professionally in front of what folks. I know how to sell anything out here. So at that point, it was just like, how can I make the most amount of money doing the least amount of work? So here we are.
Yeah, that's a concept in itself. Definitely wanting to make a ton of influence and impact with having to work smart versus hard, as I know many of us have heard the saying. And so definitely like talk to us about like that concept of working smart versus hard, and why, especially for business owners and even folks who are influencers, content creators, why do you feel that they struggle with that concept of working smart versus hard, and beating the pavement versus today in the year that we're currently in with AI on the rise, and finding different shortcuts or quicker measures to again work business successfully? Why do you think that it's difficult for people to not work smart versus working hard when it comes to their business?
I think that like the education system, it really starts from the moment you are in school and you are taking these multiple choice questions. The goal was always to pick the most efficient answer. But, you know, we sat through tests and we didn't know what was going on and we picked the wrong choices. And now that I'm older, I'm realizing that everything in this world has requirements. And if you focus on what those requirements are, then all you need to do is meet those requirements to get what you need. So why wouldn't you work backwards and start putting things into motion to achieve your goals? I also think that this type of thinking is one that you get either through schooling or working at a job that forces you to think this way. So, Julian, I pivoted from sales into tech, and I'm an engineer, and now I'm a technical advisor to corporations. And I sit with them day in and day out, and I listen to their problems. And these are large corporations. I mean, $1 million annual revenue, and not million, but 10 million, right? And I listen to their issues and I'm like, why don't you just solve this using the best data that you have available to you? And you just need to make the most efficient choice. S- So when I'm going through anything in life, uh-huh. Oh, I'm hearing myself in the background. So when I'm going through anything in life, you know, what I say to myself is, what am I good at? What am I not good at? What am I willing to learn? And what is going to be the most efficient way to move forward here? I'm not looking to recreate the wheel. I'm not looking to learn new things that I don't understand. I understand I understand a lot, but what I know is that when I'm building a business, I need to be surrounded by experts. So if I don't understand taxes, I'm not going to try to do it myself. If I don't understand how to network with people, I'm not going to keep falling on my face. I'm going to network with someone that can show me how to do things. So I just go through life leveraging the relationships I have, the talents and skills that I know, to be as efficient as possible.
Yeah, I love it. And even coming from you said an engineering background, that's what your focus area was coming into the workforce.
Yeah, unfortunately, I had picked IT because it was going to make me the most amount of money. And it was like, oh, all you have to do
Right,
is get certifications
right.
and interview at a tech company and hope you get, you know, brought on. And that was my introduction.
No, that's an awesome field to start off in, especially as a business owner, because you're more on practical step-by-step process, and almost working the schematics of a plan and putting it together in order to see it like manifest and see it
Yeah.
really be created in reality. And so like talk to us about that field, because that's really something that is slept on, I think, a lot of times, with the practical step by step. This is the point A to Z that you need to follow if you want to really have a sturdy foundation all the way to the top floor. Like, talk to us why it's important to follow steps when you are a business owner, and to not skip steps, and why your background, especially coming from IT and engineering, has helped you tremendously in the business field.
Yeah, for sure. So, my background, I'll start with that. When I first started at the tech company that I work at now, I was an engineer taking tickets and solving problems, right? I got very tired of that. I just want people to pay me for my opinions. And I just go through life sharing the information that I know and making decisions by looking at data. So now I'm in a role where I literally sit down with these corporations and they tell me what their goals are for either the quarter, the half year mark, or for the year. And we literally work backwards to understand what exactly do we need to do to meet this goal, right? And it typically starts with me sitting down and understanding how they operate. So that way I can get a baseline of what they know how to do and what they don't know how to do, who can do what, and who has the skills to do what I need them to do. And then from there, we define what that goal is, and you just figure out what that gap looks like. And from there are specific things that you need to do. You need to schedule meetings in advance so you can be talking about the right things with the right people at the right time. You need to continue to look for information. There are things that they need to learn. There are things, conversations that they need to have throughout the quarter. And we're literally just tracking month over month. What have you done this month to achieve this goal? And then from there, I sit with their senior executives, their C-level leadership, and I say, you set out to do this goal. This quarter, here's how far we got. We were supposed to get through these things. We slipped over here. We weren't able to do this. Next quarter, let's take it up a notch. So all we're doing is setting goals and then working backwards to either increase our sales quotas, reduce our waste in our environment, reduce our risk, or increase our security posture, right? And this is how we solve issues. And this is how this tech company that I work at, this is how they make you work. You have to work this way. If you don't sit down and define your requirements, you will never understand what you're working towards. So now, as a business strategist, that is the first thing I sit down and talk with people about. What are you actually passionate about? What do you know how to do? What don't you know how to do? What does your credit look like now? What does this look like? And we define where they are today. So that way I can say, okay, well, depending on what you want to do, you need to learn how to do this, 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 and this. And here are the contacts that I can send you to get this done. And call me in a month and we'll talk about your progress thus far. And from there, we're just tracking it month over month, and we're looking at how far we've gone. Because I can assure you, if you write down the things that you're supposed to be doing, you can always check the box, right? It's the problem that people are not documenting the work that they've done. They have no idea how far they've come. They have no idea what they need to do next. But if you had somebody to list that out for you, you would be 10 times better.
Yeah, and that's the importance of having a strategist like yourself, or even a coach, to walk the individual through the process step by step, so that they don't bump their head 100 times when they could have only bumped it maybe less than 10 if they had hired or consulted with someone like yourself, who is a strategist or a coach, to show them the way. And so, Wisdom audience, if you have any questions for my very special VIP guests, feel free to come on and chat and dialogue with us. Or if you're on Twitter or here in StreamYard, if you have any questions for Brandi, feel free to either list them in the chat or to come on to the stage with us to ask any questions. But talk about that process when it comes to not hiring a coach or a strategist. Like, how much money do you feel that people are wasting in trying to do it on their own and going to YouTube University and just listening to YouTube quote unquote experts, versus literally going through someone who is knowledgeable and also will show you step by step through either a community or one-on-one consultations? Like, how much money do you think people throw away by not hiring someone like yourself or an expert?
Yeah, sure. I think people will throw away a ton of money for a couple of reasons. I think the first reason is people want convenience, so they will pay, some IG guru for whatever their course, and they think that this is going to bring them success. And then the other reason is like people also just don't understand like 6 key things, right? Business, finance, networking, relationships, spirituality. There's another one. I forgot what it is. But okay, so let me tell you what I do, right? Because I went through a phase where I didn't know what I wanted to do and I needed to understand information. And I got to a point where I felt like I needed to pay people for their area of expertise. And I would inquire about things and I would say, oh, okay, well, this program is $5,000. Uh, maybe instead of taking out, $5,000 to go do a program, you could learn how to leverage debt to make money. These are things that you just need to understand at its foundation. If you don't have good credit, why would you pay someone to help you build your business? Your business will be built faster if you have good credit. So just fix the things that are in front of you at that moment in time. I think the most important thing is, if you're gonna pay people, you need to be looking for the right information at the right time. If I'm gonna go pay money for a program, I need to have done my due diligence to understand that I'm in a good spot with my credit. I have maximized my W-2 money. I have done risk management when it comes to building out my business, and my business is in compliance, and I have business insurance, right? Like, people just jump right in and they have no idea how this stuff is actually supposed to work. So, Julian, what I'll tell you is, I think people will spend more money by doing that, and it also opens them up to so much more risk. You should never go into business doing something that you don't understand. You should never be taking money out if you do not understand how you're going to pay it back, how you're going to service that debt. You need to understand these concepts. So I would say, when people work with me, my goal is to teach you that all of this stuff matters. I built a foundation for myself to be able to execute on the level that I execute today. And when people see me doing what I'm doing, I mean, they ask me about it, but honestly, you got to start at the beginning. Get your credit straight, because I had to do that when I was 18. Learn how to buy a house, because I had to do that when I was 19. Learn all of these concepts, because you can't just go through life not learning things. You need to read books, listen to podcasts, and get educated before you start making business decisions.
Yeah, no, that's critical. What Brandi is telling us, you have to invest in your personal development. She's dropping a ton of jewels when it comes to the importance of literally taking your business from concept to implementation to the next level by having a strategist or a coach or expert to be able to get you literally in motion, in action. And so I know, Brandi, we had a question coming in for you from HB. Shout out HB. And if anyone else has any other questions who's here on StreamYard for Brandi, feel free to put them in the comments, and we'll make sure she gets them. But HB said, Brandi, what's next for you? What's your end goal? So you want to chime in for HB on what's your steps or your end goal, Brandi?
Yeah, of course. So HB is actually my mentor and friend and business partner, Howard Bonds. He's awesome. So what's next for me? Oh, I just understand that I need multiple streams of income. So I am looking to build out at least 7, and I have identified 4, and I will tell you what they are. They are my W-2 job, because that is a stream of income that you need to leverage, right? My consulting business, because that is something I am very good at. I'm going to do courses for, obviously, business funding. And then another one is doing flips with my business partner, Howard. At some point here, we're going to start doing flips. My end goal ultimately is to live my life like I want to. I just want to wake up in the morning and do what I feel like doing, because I have a set schedule. And I just want to go through life and give people my opinions. And they can come to me with their questions at any time, and I'll just travel the world giving people my opinions. Very simple, isn't it? But
I love
yeah,
it.
yeah. I will tell you though, in order to do that, I have to build an empire that runs itself. So I would say also the next goal for me is to start educating people who are looking to build businesses, and start investing in those businesses as I help those businesses become more strategic. So I would be consulting these businesses that want to do business with me. They get to a set point where they have hit a profitability point, and I will invest 20% into their idea. So I will just continue to expand by leveraging the businesses that I start to own.
I love it. It sounds like you're gonna be the female version of, I forgot the brother's name that has the show The Prophet, that comes in and swoops in and lets people basically get financed so that he can become a silent, or not a silent partner, but he comes in as a partner to get their business to the next level so it doesn't fail or fall on their face. And then if they fail, then he owns the business. But if through his services they succeed, then of course his assistance that he gave them is like maximum 100-fold return on their investment that they get just from having him be a part of their business team. And so shout out to the Prophet, and even to HB asking that question for you too, Brandi. We're going to give you a quick commercial break, Queen, while we light our VIP sponsor. But if you have any questions for Brandi, still feel free to put them in the comment section. We'll make sure that we get them answered throughout the interview today. But we're going to come right back to you, Brandi, in 1 second. Each and every episode, we highlight a VIP sponsor that we make sure we are able to purchase the equipment, the services that we use for our Smart Jewelz network of podcasts and shows, and even for our content to be created. And so we cannot make the show flow and the podcast run successful without our affiliates and our sponsors. And so if you're a business owner or entrepreneur that wants to have your service or your product highlighted with our marketing ads that we use for our podcast on audio and visual ads, feel free to click the link that we're putting in the comment section below. Let's take a look and see who our VIP sponsor is for today, you all. Let's take a look. Today, our VIP sponsor today comes from none other than Herb in Eden. Herb in Eden is a health and wellness business that is based here in Georgia, in Douglasville. So we always like to highlight some local business owners that we have partnered with, and also receive % off by clicking on the link that we're putting in the comment section below. By purchasing any of their wellness soaps, their oils, their scrubs, and their wellness products, which are all natural, going back to the concept of Herb in Eden. And so instead of Eden that we know from a biblical perspective, and so definitely click the link and receive 15% off by supporting wellness business by the name of Herb in Eden, who is our VIP sponsor for today. Also, we got to give a big up to StreamYard, who is a streaming platform that we use to stream all of our podcasts and all of our shows that we host under the Smart Jewelz network on. You can receive $10 off today by clicking the link that we have in the comment section to become a StreamYard user. And when you sign up for a package or one of their plans today, you'll be able to stream on multiple platforms at the same time, from Twitch, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. They haven't opened up the IP for IG yet, but you can stream on majority of the platforms that you catch your short form or long form content. And so we use StreamYard. It's very sturdy. And so big up to off today by clicking the link that is in the comment section. I know, Brandi, we're coming back to you right now. We just wanted to highlight our sponsor and affiliates. I have a question for you from Wisdom. And so I believe this is Jason that's coming on to the stage. Jason is coming on in 3, 2, 1. Jason, how you feeling today, King?
Show depth, and this is a great strategy to have. I agree with what you're saying in terms of people taking. That's why I really haven't even been able to find a partner because, in fact, well, for one thing, I have that spot reserved because my dream is to travel around the world with my wife, working with her. But at the same time, I'm open to other people. But when I see how other people do business, they cut so many corners that honestly, I risk. I think that I might die doing with them. Like I did a renovation of my house. There's things that you take risks, people could die. Like these people were building a building.
You're in the car. You're in the car a little bit, King. It's a little low. You got a question?
If you can't come on enough time, I'll put it in the chat. Essentially, the question is she surprised the level of, I guess, impatience to do the right thing, and people are always wanting shortcuts, and I see it, the amount of risks that people take, because she was talking about, it's just so dangerous even. It's not even that it doesn't work. The shortcuts people want to take online, if they were building a house, it would fall. So that's I'm shocked. I'm a business cat, so
right.
I learned how to do things the proper way. It takes a long time, you know.
Absolutely.
I have my first $1 million sale.
Yeah.
So, you know what? So yeah, that's a question. That's bad to hear. Just it's shocked. I've been shocked. That's it.
That's a good point right there, Jason. We appreciate you tuning in, King. So I think basically what Jason is hinting to, what are your thoughts on risk? Are you surprised by different risk that people are either willing to take or not willing to take when it comes to, again, getting their idea off of out of their head and putting it into action or implementation stage? Like, what are your thoughts on the risk factor of that?
Definitely. I think in all businesses, there is a thing called risk management. People need to understand risk management. People cutting corners, like I just can't get with that. I feel like if you go into business to do something, you need to understand exactly what the risks are, because you can get hit with a lawsuit that is $2 million and you cannot pay for that. Like, people go into business and do things and they don't have business insurance, they don't have proper procedures. You need to understand these things. So yeah, I think people kind of just skip over the concept of risk management. I personally understand this very well because my customers at my tech job are large enterprise organizations, and I have to help them mitigate their risks because they will have brand damaging reputational harm that they cause themselves if they do things incorrectly or if they do not do their due diligence. So I'll just say this. When you're going into business, you need to understand all requirements so that way you can make business decisions about how you plan to operate. And if you don't understand something, you need to talk to a lawyer, right? Like, you need to hire professionals to teach you what you don't know when you're going into business doing things like that. So specifically for real estate, like I would never do a full gut rehab because I've never done it. So I would probably partner with someone who is very good at doing full gut rehabs, because this is not something that I'm going to be able to learn overnight. So I think people just need to be realistic with what they're willing to learn and what they're not. And they need to mitigate their risk by either transferring that risk to others by partnering with someone, or assuming the risk by bringing in a specialist to help you navigate that process.
That's an excellent point right there, that Brandi and about on risk. Shout out to your question too, Jason, as we're going into the live Q&A. We had another 2 questions coming in the chat, Brandi, from Patrice. Thank you, Patrice, for asking your question. Patrice asked, should passion and interest be one of the drivers that motivate people to pursue certain businesses with, i.e. real estate or cleaning service? What are your thoughts on passions and interest?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll go back to that 7 streams of income I was talking about, right? Like you have to balance your time across 7 streams of income. And the biggest hogs of our time are our 9-to-5 job and probably a side hustle. So if you're going to have 7, you need to understand how to simplify as much as possible. We are only going to put our time and effort into getting really good about the things that we know how to do. So you need to tap into your passions quickly, and you need to understand what interests you and what doesn't. So as I built out multiple streams of income, I just said, okay, well, I'm not good at this, but it's something that I need for my business. I'm just going to go buy a product for it. I'm not going to build it from the ground up. The businesses that I need to be very active in are my 9-to-5 job and my consulting business. And the whole point about my side hustle being my consulting business was so that way I could literally do the same thing all day, every day, giving people my opinions at my day job and at my side hustle. So that way it's just one job. And I was very efficient by doing that. So now my other streams of income are literally just things I'm interested in, but I won't put that much energy into. So I'll just buy it and automate as much as possible. So yeah, that's what I think about that.
Yeah, no, that's a great response, especially to the jewels that you're dropping. Shout out to Patrice, Jason, and HB asking questions in our live Q&A. If anyone else has any more questions on wisdom, or if you're listening in on Twitter or here on StreamYard, feel free to either come onto the stage or ask in the chat, and we'll make sure to get those questions addressed. But I know Brandi had one more question coming in the chat for you. Me ready to put it on the screen. I believe we had a question coming in. This is from Miss Tracy. Miss Tracy said, if you have good credit and you are looking to invest in a rental property, where would one start? And so if you have good credit and you're looking to invest in a rental property, where should you start?
You should start by figuring out how much money you can put down on the house, because you need to understand like what you can work with. From there, you just have to define your requirement for the type of house that you're looking for. So for me, right, I require $1,000 profit on any house that I am going to invest in. And because I need $1,000 profit, I'm only looking at houses that are in a certain amount of price range. And because I want to put down the least amount of money as possible, I need houses that are under $150,000, right? You just start to work backwards from the things that you know how to do. And you realize very quickly that, okay, at that point, all you need to do is talk to a lender about the different products that they have available to you. And they will tell you what your down payment options are. And if you want to put down the least amount of money out of pocket, you just need to go with the most efficient loan product. So that's where I would start. Figuring out what your requirements are for profitability of that rental property, and then how much can you afford?
Yeah, no, that's a good response, especially when it comes to credit. I know a lot of people, they do shy away from using credit to build up business credit, especially let alone personal credit. And even when it comes to like the factors that deter people from wanting to start a business, or when it deals with people deal with the opposition of failure or failing to succeed, like what are some of the advice or advisement you would give to those who may be still in their head with worrying about what other people think, what other people say, how other people are going to feel when they do step into their passion or their calling and their purpose, and like why should they get past that, and how would you advise someone to work past those initial struggles?
Sure. I mean, I had these struggles this morning when I was getting ready for this, right? It's like I didn't think anyone would show up. At the end of the day, these are data points that we cannot anticipate, right? So when we're talking about making business decisions based on our data, how other people feel about what our business will be is not something that we can quantify. And it's not something that we should worry about. We should just worry about what is required to increase our profitability, increase our exposure, and sell a profitable product. You need a quality product that people want to buy into. So don't worry about that extra stuff. People will buy from you. You just need to sell yourself, and you just need to be a very solid business person.
Yeah, you got to know how to sell. That's a key factor that we even talked about on one of our recent podcast episodes when it comes to automation. Like where would you tell people, Brandi, to go in order to, let's say, meet and network, especially if they're just starting off with their small business or their entrepreneur business that they are just stepping into as an entrepreneur? Like, where should you go, and why is it important to network with your community and with your network of family and friends, or even coworkers or associates? Like, how would you tell someone to get into that networking?
Your ability to network is what will open doors for you faster than any amount of information that you learn by going and doing research on your own will do for you. I much rather sit down and talk to a banker about what I need to do to qualify for their product, as opposed to trying to Google all of these different things. When you're speaking face to face with people, they are able to tell you things that you would never learn in the books. And that's why, hands-on experience, real world experience is important in any business. Like I can build any business because I just inherently understand how businesses operate. Right. So as long as you network with the right people, you can just focus on having the right conversations at the right time. And those people will put you in rooms that your wildest dreams could never imagine. So I would start networking on LinkedIn. I personally don't use LinkedIn like I should. And I'm sure that if I did, I would be able to get everything that I need done very, very fast. But LinkedIn is a great spot. You need to figure out your elevator pitch. And that starts by figuring out where your value is, because that's ultimately how you're going to put yourself out there. You have an expertise in an area, and you would like to offer it to someone who needs it. So that's how you should do it. If you don't know where to go from there, I mean, there are so many like industry specific podcasts, industry specific communities that you can tap into. I mean, you literally can ask a chat bot where to go for things these days. So,
Yeah, it's so many options, like you're saying out there, Queen, that are available. Those are massive jewels that you're dropping. I know for those who have any questions, we have a couple more moments with Brandi. Feel free to chime in. But I know we always talk to a lot of business owners or even people that have a side hustle that they're wanting to turn into their full-time business. Like when folks are working a 9 to 5, why do you think that people value the services that they provide their employer or their management that they're reporting to versus devaluing their services that they can provide as a business owner or an entrepreneur to their own clientele? Like, why do you feel people struggle so much with, of course, being valued by getting a paycheck from their employer, but when it comes to doing their own hustle or doing their own business or their own venture, that they devalue their same services, talents, and gifts that they are giving an employer?
oh yeah, this is something that I've really stepped into a lot over the last few weeks. I think that people are just very safe. They like to play it safe, but they also don't even know how to leverage what they have, right? We talk about being appreciative for the things that we have in life and the blessings that we've been able to, receive. You need to learn how to leverage your day job. Your day job is a mechanism to make money. That's it, right? That is it. So if I can maximize how much money I make at my day job and minimize the amount of work I'm gonna do, that just means that I can go do some more work for myself. So we need to get in a habit of, if your day job is not supporting your passions, then you need to cut it immediately. Stop complaining about the fact that you're not making the amount of money that you want to make. You need to be strategic and go get a job that's going to pay you what you want to make. Stop complaining about the fact that your job is not fulfilling to you. You need to find your passion and you need to work in a field that complements your skills so you can be very efficient. You just need to be the best at what you do. And why not tap into your passions to work a day job that does that? And you just learn how to leverage that to fuel your dreams. That's all we have to do. And I think that's just a very simple mental shift that we have to make personally for ourselves.
Yeah, it's a mindset shift is what Brandi is telling us for today's episode. You have to transform and elevate your mind in order to think outside the box. And so that even goes to traditional education versus self-education. I know you as being even a content creator, I forgot to add Brandi also a content creator. So she's just consulting people and not producing her own content. She's been on podcasts and produces her own content via her social media. Like, why do you feel people value more of their traditional education still in this age versus putting self-education or their personal development? And how can one basically get into the lane of more self-development and professional or personal development versus being concerned with a degree or certifications, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah. Here's how I will simplify this for you. Think about how much money you spend on a degree and think about how much money you would spend investing in yourself. Why go get a degree if you don't know what you want to do in life? Like, why would I go into debt not knowing what I wanted to do? I got myself into the position I needed to be in, and I figured out, I need to get a degree so I can leverage it to make more money. So, and people are afraid of debt, but they go and take out student loans to get degrees that don't pay them more money. Just get a degree that you can leverage to make more money. That's all you got to do. And as long as you understand the requirements of the next job level that you want to achieve, you realize very quickly that you don't even need a PhD. You don't even have to do all this stuff. You just need to work smarter, not harder. So I think everyone should take a second and look in the mirror and ask themselves, what is it exactly that I want for my life? And what is the most strategic way to go get it? And does getting a degree out of high school even make sense?
No, that's real. We talk about traditional versus self-education a lot on the pod, and so you're hearing not just from myself, you're hearing from Brandi. The people that are chasing degrees and things of that nature, unless you're working in a specialized field, for those millennial and Gen Zers out there, you're just going to continue, as she said, to accrue massive debts that you will never be able to pay off, even freedom plan or financial freedom plan to get out of debt. And so it's a trap to keep you in bondage and to also keep you in the game and in the rotation wheel. And so before we let you go, Brandi, we did have Jason. He asked one more question on wisdom, but I think he was driving. He wanted to know, why do you think it's so hard, Brandi, to find people who want to run a corporation the right way, like you teach? And so I think he was referring to, why do you think it's hard for people to find individuals that want to run business the right way versus being scammy, sketchy, not having integrity? Like, what are your thoughts on the importance of integrity and character when you're running a business versus not having any at all?
I mean, this is what we were just talking about, right? Like being passionate about what you do. if you truly love what you do, you would never be haphazard about it. You would create quality content, you would have quality products, you would do the right thing by your customers. It is the people that are going into business because they realize it's very easy and they're like, oh, well, this is how I can make money. And all they care about is the immediate gratification of this. It is never I want to build this life for myself. Here's a 5-year plan. It's always how can we get money quick? And I think that if you educate yourself, you will start to see very quickly who is talking about the right things, the people you should be listening to over the people that you should avoid like the plague, right? Because those are the people that are ultimately putting haphazard businesses together, and they don't care about what they're doing. So, yeah, that's what I'll say.
Yeah, there's a ton of those folks, as we know, on IG and YouTube University. So, like, what are some before we get the final jewel at your episode? Like, what are some of the practical steps you would have someone take in order to find the right coach, the right strategist, the right mentor? Like you said, you had even your mentor that was tuning in for your episode today. Like, how do you find the right ones and not the scammer, or the right ones and not the hustlers who are just wanting to put you in a course and they have no type of interaction with you after that? Like, what are some things you would tell people to look for?
Look for the people that pay it forward, right? Information is free, but people will charge for it. I don't mind to tell people my struggles and what I've gone through, and I can give you very clear and concise ways to avoid the things that I have done, right? It's the moment where you try to communicate with someone and they don't give you the real. Those are the people you should avoid. So as far as mentorship, I would say everyone should just get really smart at understanding exactly what they want out of their own life, because only you can tell you what you need. And as long as you identify a person that is saying the same things as you, that understands what you're doing, and you say, "Oh, this person, like, this makes sense." Tap into those resources. Tap into people that have already done what you've done. Ask others that are well educated in certain areas. Ask others for their mentors. And ultimately, getting on LinkedIn, finding someone that is in the position that you want to be in, and just asking them for time on their calendar. These are ways that you can find sincere mentors out there.
Yeah, it's tons of pools that Brandy's saying. LinkedIn is an excellent source too. I forgot to definitely thank you for mentioning LinkedIn, because a lot of Gen Zers and even certain millennials are not on LinkedIn, even if they are in a 9-to-5 profession, or if they're working for themselves. But majority of the connections that I've made, even for business and for my career previously, or through LinkedIn. And so I got on it. Shout out to LinkedIn for providing that business opportunity for people to network and not just want to slide in someone's DMs, even though they do have that on there, but it's mostly about business and professionalism. So shout out to LinkedIn. But Brandi, we definitely have reached of the interviews today, which is what we call final jewels. And we allow our guests to leave a final jewel of wisdom that you can leave with the audience. I know we talked about today your journey in getting into the IT field and engineering early on in your schooling, and then how that led you even to be more efficient at being a business owner, and also being able to help other business owners start and continue to elevate their business. What would be a final jewel that you would want to leave for our audience today before we let you go?
Sure. I would just say everything is an algorithm. Everything in this world is an algorithm. So as long as you understand the levers with which this stuff changes, you can figure out very quickly what you need to do next to solve your problems. So just be efficient at finding the least amount of effort, the least amount of money out of pocket, and just solve your issues in an efficient way, and you'll be fine.
I love it. I love it. You gotta find a solution. Telling solutions in order to make sure you are providing a valuable service to others. And so, Brandi, before we let you go, Queen, how can people stay in contact with you if they want to solicit your services? They want to get up with you after today to ask any personal questions that they may have not wanted to ask out in the open. What are some ways they can touch base with you?
Sure. You can reach out to me on Instagram. I have my calendar link in my Instagram bio. You can also email me directly at contact@blue-pratt.com. Yeah, you can reach me on those platforms. And LinkedIn as well. I'm getting on LinkedIn. Brandi Pratt.
Absolutely. Shout out to link again. And again, I have where you can follow up with Brandi on the screen at her handle at bigmama202_. So definitely even subscribe to her on her social media platform. She is active on social. That's even how I was able to book this interview. And so we did have a session before Brandi's interview today that said you got to use social media. So that means that you have to be social and respond to people in their messages or their comments they make on your posts, because people may be trying to reach you, but you may not even be checking your DMs or even checking your posts. And so, Brandi, I'm going to say a quick blessing and a quick prayer over you, Queen, before we let you go. But we thank you again for taking time out of your schedule to run the Jewelz with us. If you have been blessed by today's episode, feel free to sow a seed. We always believe in sowing a seed into good soil, into good ground where you're able to receive. And so this is good soil. If you've been fit content Brandi has been dropping today, there's 3 ways to sow. You can SmartJewelz. That's smart. Section below to that we launched for podcast, or you can become a monthly Patreon subscriber just by clicking the link that's in the comment below. But Brandi, we're going to say a quick prayer over you, Queen, and then let you enjoy the rest of your day, if that's okay.
That's fine.
Perfect. Father God, I just want to thank you for Brandi. Thank you for her relatability to others that are listening, to give practical steps and to be able to show others that if she was able to do it and she was able to be successful at turning her concept and ideas into actual reality and a business and continuing to flourish with multiple businesses, then they can do it too. We thank you for her patience. I value she is sowing into, and also the mentors and guides that are sowing into her. We pray that you will bless her business and her services 100-fold from her putting out to others. May she receive the 80, 90, and 100-fold increase. And for everyone that is in her network and support system, we pray that you will bless them for being here with us today, and that you will continue to guide her in all of her ways. I love you, Abba. I praise you. I glorify you and honor you. And it's in Jesus, Yeshua's name, I pray. Amen. We appreciate you, Brandi, for coming on, Queen. I know we'll be in touch, and you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Everyone have a great afternoon. Brandi. All right.
Peace.
Bye.
Again, another valuable source, another entrepreneur, another dynamic queen that was dropping a ton of jewels on the importance of getting out of your head. We all, myself included, have to get to a point where we are able to stop allowing our thoughts and also our fears to dictate our life and our lifestyle. We have to get to the point where we are able to put our passions and purpose not just on paper, but to put it into reality and to manifest it and to bring it into this earth realm. Even if you operate in a spiritual capacity in the spirit realm, you got to get it out of the spirit realm to get it to manifest and be created in the natural realm. And so you have to start. You can't be afraid to get off the sidelines, to get out of the Raptors, to get off of the bench. because many of us were called to be starters and to be on the field or to be on the court. But we're too afraid that when our number is called or when our name is called, that we're not prepared. Andy was just letting you know that she comes from an IT background and an engineering background. You have to be prepared in where you're going and also be prepared before you even get there. And so what are you doing this season to prepare and to also be ready for when your number is